This is a special episode of RCE Show 21. Both Jeff and I are in the same room for the first time for recording ever. Ever.
Fantastic.
Yes. And we are on site in Portland, Oregon. The
home office in Portland at Supercomputing. Well, Supercomputing is now over.
Yes, it is over. Floor closed at 4, and it is now well after that.
It is well after that.
One quick thing, a lot of stuff we're going to talk about here. There's only the two of us, the two things we saw. We did not even barely scratch the surface of everything that went down at SC this year. But
absolutely. It's two random guys' observations from our limited little foxholes and perspectives. But, hey, it's better than nothing.
Yeah. So, first off, we did get to meet some fans of the show, which was very nice for those of you who got to meet us, and we're glad to hear people who like the show and they like what we're doing. Also, we got to meet some guests who were on the show, which was real nice for me. I had not met most of these guys in person, but this is, if you were at the show and we didn't meet you, sorry, so this is not a complete list. But we got to meet Bryce Goglin.
You ugly American.
Yes, I know.
It's Dr. Bryce Goglin. He tells me that's at least sort of close, yes. So, yes, Dr. Bryce Goglin from, he did the openmp show from nvidia. And you met Doug Eadline for the first time.
Yes, I did.
I'm sure Jeff Layton was here, but neither of us ran into him as well. And Josh Bernstein from Skilled. First time you met him too, right?
Yep.
He's a funny guy.
Paul Hargrove from Berkeley Lab Checkpoint Restart, BLCR. I actually went out to dinner, and last, you're going to have to do this one.
Yeah, Quincy Kazoil. Yeah, that was the first time you met him too. I see Quincy all the time at the forum meetings, but from the HCF5 group. So I'm sure there were others of you here. Sorry we didn't run into you, but these are the people that we at least ran into. So it's nice to see those guys. Mm-hmm. Actually, going to Supercomputing is always nice to see everybody again. You know, the big gathering you have in November every year to see everybody.
Yeah, all the people you've been talking with by email, but finally get to actually clear up some misunderstandings is what happens with me a lot of times.
All right, well, let's talk about the floor.
So
exhibit floor.
I spent a decent amount of time on the floor.
I spent a lot of time on the floor in the Cisco booth.
Yes, Jeff has to work for his corporate overlord.
I do.
Luckily, Michigan does not have a booth, so I do not have to do anything like that. So I get to walk around and see all the cool new gear.
You probably saw a lot more stuff than I did.
So one neat thing I saw, Data Direct Networks, DDN's new 10,000 series, they're embedding Lustre on the box, so you can buy a full head or a head that's basically partitioned and provides your Lustre servers for you right off of their head, and they'll support it for you, which
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's a nice fully integrated package. You don't have to worry about it as much.
As a sysadmin type, I can see how that'd be pretty important to you. That's cool.
Yeah, it takes one piece of hardware out of the equation, which is nice. First personal time seeing 100 gigabit Ethernet working and not in a lab.
On the show floor.
Yes, which was nice, and I believe Jeff's not allowed to comment on that.
I'm not allowed to I wish I could tell you the great stuff coming. Just can't really say anything about it.
Also, a lot of containers for data centers, and I've been interested in these for a while. IBM had them, HP had them. SGI rackable mergers all finished, and they still have their Ice Cube. Sun has it. A couple other vendors are providing fully configured cooling, bring them water and power, and you practically don't even need you don't need a raised floor or anything.
Cool.
So it appears, it looks like an interesting thing to do in the future, possibly to really get your power and cooling efficiencies up. They've got it all modeled out and it works well.
Nice.
OpenMP 3.1 is coming, pretty sure. The compiler guys appear to all be kind of in agreement about what they want to do.
You saw them on the floor and in the BOF?
They had a BOF, yes, and one of the things that was struck my attention was affinity, which appears to be becoming more important as...
I agree completely. As we're all going NUMA, right? I've even written about this in my blog a couple times. We're all going NUMA. Affinity, both memory affinity, processor affinity, and the application actually understanding the topology of the box is going to be more and more important. It's already important today, but people can get away with not caring about it because we're only at 4 and 8 cores and things like that. But as we many core, this is going to be really important. The operating system just cannot pick up all the slack. So You unwittingly gave me a perfect lead-in to plug our latest sub-project in OpenMPI called Hardware Locality, or HWLoc. Go to www.openmpi.org. It's a tiny little library that gives you a C API and a nice little command line tool that draws pictures and provides you a C API to get the map of your machine, right? So you can say, hey, how many sockets do I have? How many cores are on that socket? How many hardware threads are on that core? And what are the sizes of all the caches and the RAM and everything? And which cache is shared by which socket and which core and all these things. So you can actually understand where you are in the network in the box and do stuff. So I'm sorry, going off a little bit of a rant there, but I just think this is tremendously important. And the guys from nvidia, as a matter of fact, a prior show guests, Brice Gogla was one of the primary authors of the original incantation of HWLoc, and it's fascinating stuff. So anyway, I'll get off that little high horse there. Let's move on.
Well, about the Bayo Bash and how that went off this year. I did not make it.
I went there. We went in very briefly. It was an incredible success. It was standing room only. It was a lot of fun. We didn't really end up staying that long, but it was a good time, and everybody was there. And I think Doug wrote about it on his blog and elsewhere and stuff like that. So good time. Appreciate the sponsorship and all that stuff.
Yeah, and Doug's blog is Cluster Monkey, right?
Cluster Monkey, and he also publishes elsewhere around. Yeah, just Google for Doug Eatline. You'll find lots of stuff about him. We should point out his corporate overlord himself. He writes for Linux Magazine in a regular column there.
Oh, okay.
There you go.
Okay, so that's where his regular job is.
Yeah. Shout out to all our friends.
Today, that's Thursday, went to two talks back to back. Google, their data centers are all running on average below a PUE of 1.2, which is actually quite good.
PUE?
Yeah, okay.
Sorry, software guy here. No clue what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's basically the efficiency of your data center, how much total power you're putting in compared to how much power are you putting into your compute.
Okay. And 1.2 is
very, very good.
Very, very good.
Most are around 2, a little below 2.
What do you guys run at?
But I don't want to admit what we're running at currently. I've been not happy.
More than that.
Yes.
Okay.
Thus, why I'm interested in containers.
Okay.
Google's doing a bunch of interesting stuff. They do DC battery backup instead, so there's no conversion from AC to DC to AC.
Okay.
They're packing everything in shipping containers already and controlling their cooling, and they're running hot aisles. This is all stuff I think we've seen before.
Is this a talk or a BOF?
This was a talk on, what do they call it? Warehouse scale computing. Entire warehouse is full of pretty much homogeneous equipment.
Right. So the implication here being that HPC could learn from this, basically.
Yes. So basically, how much power bill can we cut off from our...
Google's not really traditional HPC, but... kind of the same problem space from the hardware side is, I guess, the implication.
Well, their big things MapReduce, and we had Hadoop on before, and we actually have some people coming to Michigan who their requested application is Hadoop and MapReduce. So there's going to be more research going on in that kind of area, I feel, in the academic world.
All right.
Facebook, they talked a lot more about software. They're using Memcached heavily for satisfying a lot of requests. To try to build a big global database, because you log into your Facebook page and it's not your data, it's all your friends' data, so they can't divide it up by user, and how that's all spread apart. And
I saw a couple of tweets on the hash sc09 search on Twitter. They were quoting, I don't know which one it was either Google or Facebook, but they were saying that the way you scale is you have a simple software model and you just beat your developers and force them into that, but it's really the best way to do it.
Yeah, actually he mentioned that, it's just the smallest pieces, and you can get into some complexities, but you always want to get back down to your small pieces. So you introduce a new product, and it's very easy to adapt your existing infrastructure.
Okay. Well, you've been a busy guy. I'm actually really bummed that I didn't get to walk around the floor very much, because I had booth duty and customer meetings and various other things, but the majority of my activity around the show, shockingly enough, was MPI related. Actually, I've been in Portland here quite a while, because we had an MPI forum meeting here last week that just kind of rolled over into the show. And just a little